Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 19 of the Odd Sports Topics podcast, 1-9. I am Michael Rachel, joined as always with PJ Ellis and Matt Costa. PJ, we have an interview with TJ Crockett coming up. You know pretty well. We'll get into it a little bit, but first I want to talk to you guys about a little bit of news that has been happening in the sports world. Obviously, we haven't made a podcast in a couple of weeks, so we have a lot to catch up on the odd things occurring in sports. PJ, I want to send this one to you. Fernando Tatis Jr. How about a 14-year, $340 million contract to stay with the Padres long term? What were your thoughts on that?
It feels really good to be back. I just want to start by saying that I'm glad to be back in our studio. So good to be back with you guys, and glad we're popping out some more content for the people. But yeah, Fernando Tatis, massive extension. I think the odd thing where it comes into play is it seems like a ton of money because it is up. I mean, 14 years. What was it? 340 or something
340,
massive.
yep.
340.
Yep.
Per year, that puts him somewhere in the NBA's like 30th to 31st average, like highest paid player for years. People keep saying the money's in baseball, but in reality, per year, the money's in the NBA still. But I still think it's a good extension for the Padres. It's a fairly cheap price for a player of his caliber. I think you're going to see Juan Soto next get absolutely just paid by the Nationals, and that creates a market for him. It's probably going to be a little bit even higher than Fernando Tatis. So it's a good contract for the Padres overall, and I wish he was a Cardinal, but Fernando Tatis is going to be absolutely killing it for the Padres for the next 14 years.
My favorite part was I saw a tweet from Jeff Passan, the MLB writer, and he was like, "Kids, this is why you play baseball." And then all the comments were just like, "It's only $24 million a year. All these NBA players make 30 plus." So that was hilarious. He's just getting roasted in the comments. Matt, what did you think of the $340 million contract by Tatis?
I too saw that tweet, and one of the top comments underneath there was it said like, "Oh, he's right next to Buddy Hield in earnings." Oh, that one's tough. But I mean, I understand. I read through that thread a little bit. Some people brought up a good point, like how many NBA players make it 14 years with all the stress they put on their body. I mean, Tatis has 14 years, and then he could possibly even play even longer after this deal. Not saying he will, but he could, because I mean, you're playing baseball. It's not a ton of stress on your body. But yeah, I think it's an insane deal. I mean, it's massive. It's like Patrick Mahomes level, blew my mind. But I still do. I agree with you, PJ. I think the money's in the NBA. If you're looking for a per year, that's where all the money's at in basketball.
And endorsements too. I mean, let's be honest here. I don't know how many people would recognize Mike Trout if they saw him on the street, like non-sports fans, like an average person. But I guarantee you, almost every single person in this country would recognize LeBron James if they saw him walking down the street. Like those two, like best in basketball, best in baseball. Everybody knows and recognizes LeBron James. I can't say the same for Mike Trout. So think about what that does for endorsements, and all that other kind of money that rolls in when coming with that popularity that LeBron gets, like the $1 billion Nike contract. Mike Trout will never sign a $1 billion Nike contract. The money's in the NBA.
I mean, I think you could recognize Tatis though. He's got that Bolt 24 commercial.
It's sports fans. As sports fans, yes. To the average person, I don't know.
No, probably not.
The contract was a little weird as well. I expected to see him have a couple like opt-out options. He has no opt-outs in all 14 years. So if things go south for the Padres and they refuse to just like kind of trade him, he's kind of stuck. So that was kind of weird. I think Arenado has a bunch of opt-outs and
This year.
Yeah, so like a lot of the players that sign these big deals like to have some opt-outs. So he didn't have any. So that was interesting. And then the other thing is, you guys see the thing about the hedge fund where he owes the hedge fund $27 million because they like bet on him and gave him a big loan before when he was in the minor leagues, assuming he would get a big contract like this, and like loaned him $27 million. So that's why people think that he signed this big deal, is just because he had to pay back the hedge fund. Or maybe it was a hedge fund. It was some kind of fund. I don't know if hedge fund, but like a fund.
I have not. That does not sound very ethical. I don't know. It seems
it's crazy. I know it felt illegal to read. I'm not going to lie. It felt illegal to read, but I don't think it was because a lot of people were talking about it.
It's pretty crazy. Out there. Never heard of that being done.
Does that set a precedent for more people to come, or more people going to try to throw money at these like minor league or like high school college players and be like, hey, I'll give you $30 million now, but when you're making pro, you got to give me $50 million or whatever. Like, wonder if that's
It definitely like closed some of the holes though, because I was like, why would he sign a 14-year deal without opt-outs? And then I was like, oh, this makes sense. He needs the money.
But what was minor league Tatis Jr.? What was he doing with that? Why did he need $27 million?
That's a good question.
His dad played Major League Baseball. Like, I feel like, there's some money in the family. What did he need the 27 mil for if he knew he was going to get a deal? That's mind blowing. It doesn't make any sense.
So if we want to go odd, we're sticking with odd. Fernando Tatis Sr., only player in MLB history to have two grand slams in the same inning for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So clap it up.
Is Junior living in his shadow?
Until he hits 2 grand slams in one inning, I don't think he can pass his dad. That's just my opinion.
Until he gets 2 grand slams in one inning in a St. Louis Cardinals uniform.
St. Louis uniform. Fernando Tatis Jr., unless you want to be your dad, you have to come to St. Louis. It's literally you have to right now.
I want to get to another story here that's odd. I came across it the other day. So ejections, I'm sure we've all been to sporting events where there's just been an ejection and you laugh. You're like, I wouldn't mind seeing ejection. It's kind of entertaining. Well, this one's from the 1985 minor league baseball in Florida. It's the Clearwater Phillies. I'm assuming they're affiliated with the Philadelphia Phillies, but they were in a tight game and Wilbur Snap. What do you think? Who do you think Wilbur Snap is in this story? Just take a wild guess. He's the one that got ejected.
Yeah, makes sense.
He is the organist for the team, and the ump made a bad call, so he started playing Three Blind Mice on his organ. And the umps turned around and just yacked him from the game. So then I got to thinking, like, what are some weird ejections that like people have seen in sports? And the one that I was in attendance for was Game 6 of I want to say it was 2015 NBA playoffs between the Bulls and the Bucks. It was when the Bucks got down 3-0 against the Bulls. They came back 3-2, and then they had a home game in Game 6, and they just got blown out by like 50. But towards the end of the game, Mike Dunleavy had a wide open 3 in the corner, and Giannis came from the other side and just tackled him out of bounds and threw him to the ground, and then got ejected and had a 1-game suspension the next year. That was wild because Mike Dunleavy, there's like pictures of him just like sitting there like looking completely deceased. I'll throw the picture in this Zoom, or in the recording, but it was pretty crazy. So Matt, what was one ejection that you've either seen or on TV or live that you were just like, what in the world just happened?
Well, I'll start this by leading with a personal story here. So my dad was my coach in a lot of my sports growing up, and he was my baseball coach. And one day there was a team that batted out of order, and he walked out on the field and was like, hey, like, they're batting out of order. It's okay. Like, we're not going to call them out. It's still like the second inning. Like, we'll just go from this lineup from here on, and it's no big deal. And the ump kicked him out. And he's like, what did I do? Like, I didn't do anything. And so he gets kicked out. The other coach is yelling at him. He just turns to all of us and says, all right, boys, we're not playing today. Everybody, let's go to the concession stand. We're getting slushies. We're getting burgers on me. And he just bought the whole team food, and we didn't play that day. So that's the personal one. One of the more funny ones that I've seen, though. I mean, how can you talk about ejections without talking about Rasheed Wallace? It's just not. You got to bring up Rasheed Wallace. The ball don't lie. Gets a tech. Free throw. Misses the free throw. Ball don't lie. Rasheed, what are you doing? Like, now you got to go. So that's a great one. The Bobby Knight throwing the chair is an excellent one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But those are some of my favorites. One of them that I was watching live when it happened was Ron Artest Metta World Peace, when he absolutely obliterated James Harden with an elbow.
Well, hold on, Matt. Which one? Was it Ron Artest or was it Metta World Peace?
It was Metta World Peace at the time.
Okay. All right.
He obliterated James Harden. I remember watching that one live, and that was tough. That James did not look okay after that one.
PJ, what's one ejection that you thought was just really crazy?
Matt, similar to you, my dad used to coach all my basketball games growing up. So he used to get, every time we'd go into this gym, Matthew Dickey's, it's like every time we played there, which was all the time because it was our league, he got kicked out of every single time we were in that gym. It felt like it seemed like he played in that gym probably 100 times, and he was kicked out of 98 of those games. And my dad was not an angry person, so it was that gym, I guess. But actually, my favorite ejection story is one that involves our guest today and one of our former guests, Lance Randall. We were in a game up at Southwest Baptist. It was it was the middle of the season. It was a big conference game for us, heading into the final stretch of our year. My junior year would have been TJ Crockett's our guest today's sophomore year. We were playing Southwest Baptist at their gym. We were down 1 with a couple seconds to go, and one of our guards, Chris, drove the lane right past the defender. Easy layup. Ball's in the hoop, in the net, swirling around the net. Guy comes, knocks it out from underneath, while 2 other players hit the backboard once it gets knocked out through the hoop. Two other players hit it off the backboard. No goaltending call. 3 seconds left. Lance Randall, one of our former guys, rightfully so, goes crazy for one of the worst missed goaltending calls I've ever seen in my entire life. Teed up, goes crazy, ejected. Assistant coach gets I think he got a tee for, I don't even know what he did. I think a player got a tee. I think we ended up with like 4 or 5 technicals in this game, all within like 0.2 seconds left, down 1. The refs make us sit there and watch them shoot all like 8 free throws. The game's over. We lost. There's like 0.1 second left on the clock. We're down by 2. Like, game's over. Their ball. They make us sit there and watch them shoot all 8 free throws before we walk off the court. It was rough. So if you're official out there watching this, if the game's over, do not make sure the team watch them shoot the 8 free throws that they don't need to watch. So that was my favorite rejection story. Lance ended up getting tossed. I think he was the only one that Coach Randall, I think he was the only one that got kicked out from the game. But there was definitely some other texts that got thrown around for everybody. Everybody's getting attacked. And I was up there filming the whole thing. So I don't know whether
you're just like,
yeah, I don't know whether I should turn off. You know, you don't want to record your head coach getting teed up. So I didn't know if I should keep recording and not miss the game, or I didn't know what to do. But so it was a fun experience. It was a fun bus ride back. Let's put it that way.
I can hear Coach.
Did you have to film the 8 free throws, or did you cut it?
I cut it, and it was a risky call because I couldn't ask my coach. My coach, I didn't be like, hey, coach, you want to see this? But I didn't want him, because if he was mad at the game, I didn't want him to be like, you cut it, what were you doing? I wanted to see blah, blah, blah. So I was like, this is a risky call, but I'm going to cut it here, and hopefully he doesn't care, and he didn't care. He was cool with it.
That's funny.
Somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Missouri, there were some college kids watching that stream, and they had St. Leo, or they had what was the school?
Southwest Baptist.
Right. Yeah. So Lindenwood plus 7.5, right? And they're like, all right, we just need 2 misses. And then PJ just cuts the tape from them, and they don't know what the final score was. But
luckily, I didn't do the live stream. This was just for our coaches.
Okay.
I did the game film just for the coaches to watch after the game. So I was strictly offline viewership. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody cut it off at Southwest Baptist too. It was the most, and I've seen a lot of basketball games. It was probably the worst no call I've ever seen. It was such a clear goaltend. It's such a crucial moment that it was almost everybody was shocked that it didn't get called. It was one of those moments you had to take a second to realize that they didn't call that goaltending after the ball was through the hoop and the dude literally came from underneath to punch it out. It was pretty rough.
I can hear Coach Randall just being like, first, you're not going to give me a zone on the floor where I can hit an automatic game-winning shot, and now you're not going to give me the goaltending call? Are you kidding me?
He was rough. I don't think we ever had those officials ever again, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think those officials ever did any of our games after that, and rightfully so. It wasn't great officiated all the way through. Let's just put it that way. It seemed a little bit lopsided until the end, and then they absolutely missed it.
Speaking of PJ's fire alarms just go off. I mean, if there's a fire, you do realize you have to stay for the podcast. You have to finish recording.
Yeah, you can't
leave. You know that meme where the guy's sitting with his coffee mug in the middle of the fire? That will be you if there's a fire in your apartment during this recording.
I don't have a coffee mug, but I have a full goldfish right here. Is that
hey, that's a good fish? The reason I brought up the Coach Randall brought up in his interview with us that he thinks there should be an automatic shot where if you hit it, you win automatically. And we actually asked TJ Crockett about that, and he was like, I don't know. My coach is kind of tripping on that one. But PJ, let's get into that interview a little bit with TJ. Give us a little bit of background on TJ since you know him the best, and then Matt and I we'll talk a little bit about the interview, including Matt's big game coming up, and then we'll get right into the interview.
Yeah, so I'll let you guys peek behind the curtains a little bit. We recorded this podcast a little bit ago, and we've been having some technical difficulties with our Twitter. So if you haven't seen anything, any articles or podcasts from us,
first of all, can I sound off a little bit on that real quick?
Yes.
Ridiculous. I'm just trying out here, get some people to come to our Twitter page, vote on some, odd things that have occurred in NFL history. And what is Twitter? Twitter just bans me. It says, no, you can't do that. Maybe I used some copyrighted video. Maybe. I'm not gonna admit it because I don't want to get a lawsuit or anything, but maybe that might have happened. But the fact that they did that was just ridiculous. So if we're back, we're still not fully sure if we're back, but we'll try a tweet this weekend, see if it happens. But yes, go ahead, PJ. Sorry about that.
We are fully, we were before, but we are a fully anti-Roger Goodell podcast now.
Mm-hmm.
We hate Roger Goodell, and all of our homies hate Roger Goodell. So if you're watching this, Roger,
We don't like you.
Okay,
Don't like
congrats to Roger for having a somewhat successful season during a pandemic, though. I mean, not too many COVID cases. I'll give him a little bit of credit for that.
I'll give him some
A lot of
snaps.
people didn't think that season would happen, so I'll give him a little credit for that.
Anti Roger Goodell. But anyways,
That's all. Yeah, that's all the credit we'll ever give to him, and it's probably too much. But go ahead, PJ.
but we are back hopefully. So this happened a while ago, but TJ Crockett, he's a great kid. He's from St. Louis, Missouri. He went to U City High School. He played it. He's playing all 4 years at Lindenwood currently. He's entering his final starts of the season, his senior season. Right now, he is. As recorded this, he was the second leading scorer in the nation for Division II basketball, and he was up there in points per game, steals per game. One of the top defensive players in the country. He is. If there was an MVP award for Division II basketball, TJ Crockett would be in the running, if not the front runner. So he is tearing it up this year. He tore it up last year. He is a combo guard that out of U City, playing at Lindenwood this year. He's hoping to go professional, whether that be G League, overseas, wherever his next steps are going to be. You'll see him playing basketball in the next couple of years. He's an absolute stud, an even better person. So we're really happy to have him on the show today.
I was scrolling through Twitter, probably like a couple of days after we did this interview, and one of my friends plays for a Division II school near Kansas City. And I saw that he posted a photo as like good win or something, and it was a shot over TJ Crockett. And I was like, how is like the odds of this happening? So Matt, you have a big game hopefully coming up against TJ Crockett one-on-one. So maybe we'll have to reach out to my guy and be like, hey, what's the scouting report? Because you, as of right now, stand no chance of scoring. I'm gonna say it. You stand no chance of scoring.
So
not even winning. You will not score 1 point, but luckily for you, you're gonna be spotted points. We'll have to figure out the format.
True.
Game 11, you're spotted 9, ones only, and you get ball to start. Keeps. So
what's the final score, Matt? What's going to be the final score? You tell us. You know, fighters call it like knockout round 3. What's your call?
Well, since I can't just like hawk up a 3 and hope that it goes in. I don't know. I've been in the gym lately. Me and my buddy Timbo Slice Rennick and I have actually been in the gym lately working on our shots. We've been going up to the point, putting in that work.
Spin Zone. Matt banned us from Twitter so that we would delay the game so he could get into the gym to get his shot better.
I need a full.
Interesting.
He reported our NFL. Wow.
Selfish.
Makes sense.
What's the final score, Matt?
I'm gonna give. I'll say 11 to like 9 or 10. I think I can beat him. I mean, I gotta get.
You're winning 11-10. You
2 buckets. I think I can get lucky twice. I mean,
you have yourself winning.
I've been working on that turnaround. I've been looking nice out there. I mean, I've been looking nice.
I think we need to insert the clip of Anthony Edwards absolutely destroying that kid Raptors because that's
Yuta Watanabe.
That's gonna be TJ to Matt. So
yes, I'll do some face swaps. I'll throw Matt's face on Yuta and then I'll throw TJ's face on Anthony. But Yuta, GW guy. Go ahead, Matt.
Basically, my strategy. I've been watching a lot of Lou Dort lately, and that's pretty much just put him in the torture chamber. And
he got broke off by John Morant the other night though twice.
No, there was a West floor. John 4 for 15 that night, so you got Dorted.
To be fair, I hate when people like for playing defense like Yuta, right? He gets posterized by Anthony Edwards, which yes, it should be like crazy, but like good for Yuta for trying to block the shot instead of just like moving out of the way. Like I respect that.
It's credit.
I respect that. And Dort, like at least you're picking up full court. We never see full court press in the NBA unless it's like Patrick Beverly. So yes, you get crossed up, but like, hey, I respect it. You're doing something different. So
you're picking up 94 feet from the basket. Like that's defense. That's good.
Exactly. Last thing I want to touch on before we get into the interview, if you guys have anything else, let me know. But one thing I thought was really cool was him talking about like what it's like playing college basketball while having, children. And that's just like kind of something that's unique. And it was cool listening to his story. So if you guys have anything else, or else we'll get into the interview.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touch on that too. Like if anything you take away from this interview, it's just like the kind of guy that TJ is. Like he's a father, he's an athlete, he's a scholar. Like he's wearing all different caps right now, and to see him succeed at all of them is really impressive. So if anything you might take away from this is just, his work ethic and how hard that he works to be where he's at today.
Yeah, just to emphasize that, just hard work. He's a hard worker. You can take away that. I mean, you get what you put into things, and he's putting in work and he's getting great results. So I commend him for that, and that's definitely something that anyone can really apply to their own life.
proud to call him a friend of the pod. So.
All right, here is our interview with the Lindenwood senior guard, TJ Crockett. Enjoy. We now welcome on to the Outsports Topics podcast, the senior guard for Lindenwood University men's basketball team, the leading scorer in Division II and 8th in points per game, TJ Crockett. TJ, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So freshman year, you were more of a defensive-minded player. PJ thinks you were first-team all-defensive, and you got robbed of it. So I don't know. You're probably a little salty about that. But sophomore year, you became the leading scorer and amongst the leaders in scoring in the nation come your junior year. And now senior year, you're picking right where you left off of that breakout year last year. So what was it like shifting your mind from being more of a defensive-minded player to the walking bucket that you are today?
Well, to be honest, I think I've always been a scorer since high school. The coaching staff at the time preferred me to play defense. I had to play a role to help my team win games, and that's what I did. But when we had the coaching change, Coach G basically told me if I want to be a scorer, I need to take more shots, and that's exactly what I've been doing, taking more shots, and thank God they've been going in. So I can't really complain about it.
So nowadays the transfer portal is pretty active. We see a lot of kids transferring schools every year. So you and your time at Lindenwood, you went through that coaching change that you just mentioned, but you ultimately decided to stay put at Lindenwood. What made you stick it out at Lindenwood, and how long did it take you to build up your relationship with Coach Gardman?
Well, to be honest, I actually was planning on leaving for my junior year because, not to get into it all, but me and the coach at the time wasn't really getting along and was bumping heads here and there. But, I told Coach G, he called me, he talked, basically said he wanted me to stay and that I could be a key factor in the system that the pick and roll game. I love it. Couldn't deny that. So I actually ended up staying, and probably the best decision of my life that I stayed and played for him. And our relationship just grew over time. And the trust and the faith that he had in me could be unbelievable. So, I basically look at him as I wish I had played for him all 4 years, but, things happen for a reason. And I just thank him for being there today.
TJ,
players often talk about
players
often talk about having that green light. With Coach Gerdman, do you feel like, is that a real thing? And do you feel like you have that green light that he trusts you enough to kind of take a shot really from anywhere, anytime? Or do you feel that there's still a shot that if you took it, you might get pulled out? Or do you feel like you have that ultimate green light, like the Steph Curry green light?
My teammates will probably disagree with me, but I don't feel like I got the ultimate green light. I feel like I take quality great shots, and like I said, they go in. So if the ball going in the hoop, you can't really complain the way it's going in. But he's told me a few times, not a good shot, TJ. You could have got a better one, or keep attacking, you settling. He'll tell me something like that here and there. But I don't think I wanted to do some Steph Curry and shoot from half court. Now, if I think I did that, yeah, he most definitely take me out.
It's like Damian Lillard when he sent Paul George, and I think he was on the Thunder at the time, sent him home in the playoffs, and Paul George on Twitter was like, "That's a bad shot," and Damian Lillard's like, "Man, it went in. What can I tell you? If it goes in, it goes in."
You can never complain when the ball go in a hoop.
TJ, we like to talk about some odd things in sports. One of those things is rule changes. Is there anything in basketball that annoys you, or that you just wish was different, or a rule change you'd like to see?
So far, I can't really complain about the rules right now. But I do hate the fact that they have a flop. They give you a tick for flopping here and there, because some calls may not be a flop, and some probably is. Don't get me wrong, I've seen some pretty bad flops and pretty bad, but I think one play I actually got called for a warning for a flop, and I had to actually show him no, I actually got hit in my face. Showing I had a busted lip, I wasn't flopping here. I actually got hit. So I would probably say a flop. I feel like they should really look into it more so than just calling a flop warning automatically off just the looks of it. So yeah, I'd say the flop warning.
TJ, I want to ask you about a rule change. We actually had your former coach Lance Randall on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and we asked him the same question. And he had 2 rule changes that he would like to see come to basketball. I think that kind of just something that maybe it'd be interesting to see, not something that he's petitioning for, but one of them was he would like to see the court extended behind the basket, so you could go behind the basket, kind of like you do in hockey with the goal. And the other one, this is where it gets real funny. You could hit a shot at a certain, there's a spot in the court where if you hit a shot from that spot, no matter what the situation is in the game, the game's over. That team wins. So if it's like a full court shot from that spot, if it gets hit and
wild.
it goes in, the game's over. No matter what, you can be down 30 and hit a shot from there, and it's over. What do you think about those two rules? And that's something would you like to see added to basketball?
I mean, I would probably be okay with going underneath the basket, but that shot, no, because you could be up by 20, and if they hit that shot, you lose. Like, no, that's bad. No, I don't like that one at all.
I think it make it definitely a little more interesting. He sold me on it. I'm not gonna lie. When he was talking, he kind of sold me on it. And then behind the basket one too, I think that also just kind of it would be something that I think it would add a little more strategy to the game at times. So I get to see you working really well at that bottom area too, underneath the basket.
Yeah, but not that one. No,
It'd be so dumb, so dumb.
Okay, over and over again, we see Division II teams knock off Division I teams. You've played in a couple of these games. Your freshman year, you guys almost took down Marquette. And then actually following your junior year last year, you guys took on the University of Illinois. The game wasn't necessarily close, but you put up 24 and 10 of 16 efficient shooting, and you only got one free throw. Obviously, you weren't getting a lot of calls, and you drove to the rim, and you drive to the rim a lot. Illinois is a really good team, a lot of really good defenders on there. When you approach those games, those Division I exhibition games, do you approach them with a little bit more intensity? Kind of, hey, I belong here. I could play at this level. I deserve to be here. And then the second quality was that since you didn't get to play any of those Division I teams at exhibition this year with COVID, do you think Lindenwood would have had a chance to knock off any Division I teams this year?
Well, first, every game I go into, I always have the same mindset. Just basically go out, have fun, and do the best I can, take care of my abilities. Only because, like, with COVID even coming in, it just shows more like you can never take things for granted because any day can be your last game. And unfortunately, like, that's what we're doing now with Lindenwood. We're fighting a little adversity with injuries. Like, guys get knocked off now. And, like, this is our senior year and most of us seniors. But thankfully, we got an extra year. But, it just shows that, like, you can never take things for granted. So every game I go into, even if we're high favored to win, I never look at it as that, like, because I'm looking as like this team could beat us at any given day, which, Maryville's like that. Like, that's a team that's pretty scary. Probably don't look good on paper, but can easily beat you and can beat you bad if they wanted to. And then what you say with the second part of the question?
Do you think that Lindenwood could knock off any Division I teams this year?
I mean, yeah, I feel like every time it's over the court, we probably could beat somebody. I don't know who, but depending on the teams, smart teams probably wouldn't play us. Like, I feel like we probably could have knocked off a few low major D1s, maybe high major as well. Because like I said, like you said, our freshman year against Marquette, you was there, PJ. I don't know how we was making those shots. I think we shot with almost 80% almost the entire game. Like, that was pretty insane. So you just never know, man. It could be your night and potentially probably not your night, but you just never know. So yeah, I do feel like you can win because, yeah, like Northwest, like that's to me that's a Division I team right there. That's not a Division II team. So just never know. Just gotta always go into the same games playing.
Last week, TJ, you went and took on a pretty good Quincy team, and you kind of went into bucket mode for 37 points and a big win. Give us a little bit of insight on how you attacked their zone defense and just your overall plan going into that game.
Well, it was basically trying to ice the ball screens, which basically send me baseline. And to be honest, I love to go baseline. And if you help, then I can just easily kick it out to either Cam Scales or Melo. They can shoot the ball. So coach basically had Cam and Melo setting picking pops on the screens, and every time they ice it, I kick it out. So when they start hitting their shots, they help open up more of the offense for me. And I was way quicker off the dribble, so they had to make a decision. And I was always taught that you should always know the move that you're going to do, and the defense second guess. So basically, I just attacked the off foot. Every time I seen them playing too close, I'll either shoot, or if they trying to press up against me, I already know I'm too fast to go past them, so I just go past them easily.
I think, TJ, I think it's interesting. You see when you scout a team and you're playing them, you look at how to defend them. Do you do that kind of same when you're watching game film? I know you get to watch a little bit of game film. Do you figure out like ahead of time how you're going to attack certain defenders? I know when you're scouting a lot, it's how to defend certain guys on offense. But when you're watching film, do you say, hey, I noticed he leads with his foot here, his right foot or something like that, I can attack that, or he's weak on this side of the ball? Like, do you scout other teams' defenders to see how you can attack them on offense?
Yeah, most definitely. But I usually don't scout ahead of time because I never know how the team's going to play me. And I always know they play me different than my teammates. So that's why I always tell my team right before the game, be ready to shoot, because that'll open up the game and open up the offense for us. If you get your shot going, then that means they're going to not be able to shift over as much or leave you open. So that helps me. So usually, if you probably see that I always erupt in the second half, but apparently this year I've been doing good both halves. But usually second half, I'm really going, I'm more aggressive because now I read the defense long enough and I evaluated and see how they're playing me. And I'm seeing the help side and basically just reading defense all around. So they help me score more. So I usually be more aggressive in the second half just because I evaluated the whole first half, seeing what's open and what's not.
TJ, I don't know if you've ever heard of Shaq Versus. It used to be a TV show where Shaq would take on people and try to beat them at where they're best at. So we got Matt Costa, who claims he's not the best at basketball. So we were like, we should get a matchup between Matt and TJ. Maybe Matt starts up like 9-0, first to 11 or something like that. Starts with the ball, something like that. Would you be up for taking Matt Costa on one-on-one potentially if PJ set it up?
Hey man, I would love to play Matt 1-on-1, but 9-0 to 11. I hope I get ball first.
He gets ball first for sure.
I was strategizing. I really don't think I could get past you. I mean, hearing about your defensive accolades, I really don't know. I pride myself in being more of, that slasher type build, but I don't know how that's going to fit in a one-on-one game where I'm more facilitator than the scorer.
We'll figure out the rules though. We'll figure out the rules. We'll come to it.
I'll just
I think the biggest question here. I think the biggest question is: are you doing keeps? Because Matt, if you give up the ball, you're probably not getting it back. So we got to decide right now if we are doing keeps or not. Because that's the key thing there. What do you say? What do you say, TJ? Keeps or no keeps?
Well, since I'll be up 9-0, I have to let him do keeps.
No, you're down 9-0. We're not giving you a 9-0 lead.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. I was like, hold on.
I'll let him do keeps. And I'll even give myself 3 dribbles, so make it
3 dribbles.
Make it a little interesting. Yeah.
I got a chance now. Defense also not a strong point of my game, so we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll set that
TJ,
up.
I'm filming this, and you got to break his ankles at least 1 point. If you break his ankles, I will be very, very happy about that. But we have to set this up for sure.
Oh, PJ, man.
So TJ, getting back into your game itself, you're 8th in the nation in points per game in Division II, as I mentioned earlier. You're tied for 4th in total steals as well. We've had this constant theme of you play both ways really well right now. Is it something that you pride yourself on defensively? I know you said you always thought you were a good scorer in high school, but what do you take more pride in, the offense or the defense, if you had to pick one?
Well, I take my pride in both, but it probably showed more on the offensive end. But I also like defense because I like to try to get a big block here and there because I know I was at a time leading in blocks. And, I'm only 6. Well, they got me listed at 6'1", but in reality, I'm 6'2", man. I'm 6'2". But I have to say, it's good to get steals because that's how you create the fast break and that's open up for dunks and highlight plays. So, I would say I would prefer defense, but, offense, who wouldn't like scoring the ball here and there,
Sophomore year, I'll never forget some of the alley-oops late in the season. This man was catching on fast breaks. There were some nasty alley-oops later on that sophomore season. We were making that run. TJ, I would take you. Obviously, next year we're not going to necessarily know exactly where you're going to be at, but we're hoping you're playing somewhere in the professional level, whether it be overseas, G League, wherever. We know that college and professional basketball is a lot different. Just the style of play and the way that the game is approached by teams. What do you think your skill that best translates over that professional level is?
Well, still, I feel like I can still get my shot, create my shot anytime I want to, no matter who's guarding me or the height advantage. But, going to the next level, still got to do a lot of evaluation, still got a lot of work to do. But I always feel like I can score it over anybody. That's just been nature in me, and that's how I've been playing the game as long as I can. And basically been successful at that point so far. So I feel like I can probably score still, but I know I have to do more, probably work on my threes here and there, because now you got guys shooting half-court threes all the time, making it look easy, which that probably would be difficult for me. But I know I can improve on that and improve other areas, but maybe scoring and then working on defense, because, guys are a lot faster, more athletic. You got to look at Zion. If I had to guard somebody like that, I will have a lot of work to do.
I think your pick and roll game would also be a good skill that would translate well into the NBA today. You see a lot more teams running that pick and roll offense you guys run now. So I think that would be a good skill for you.
Yeah, because with that, it's just I feel like that's probably the hardest offense to guard because you don't know. Definitely, if your guy can pick and pop or even roll and athletic and go catch an alley oop here and there, like you can't really defend that or try to stop it because I know how to go off the screen so tight to make it harder for the defender to get over, and then I can also make the jumper from if you try to go under. So like that is very difficult for other guys, which I could bring over to the professional level and be pretty successful with that as well. So yeah, I thank you on that one. Didn't even think of that.
TJ, when you're describing what you are, you're a basketball player, you're a scholar, you're a college athlete, but you're also a father. Not many college athletes who are playing have to manage being a father on top of going to school and playing basketball. What is that like trying to balance all three of those things and maintaining your high level at all three of those? You're a great father, you're a great student, you're a great athlete. How is it like managing and balancing all that stuff you got on your plate?
First, I would tell nobody to do what I'm doing. Take your time. But it's not, it's not easy. But where I've grown up, basically raising my little brother with my mom always having to work here and there, and it's just be me and him at the house here and there. It already basically was mature and can handle the situation. So being a father, man, it's hard work, but it's also fun. Like, get to see a little me going around and looking up to me, and basically keep you from being bored because you never be bored with your kid, man, at all, never. And but also keep my head in the books. I gotta give thanks to my fiance and my mom, man. Like they make sure I stay on task and make sure I have help and basically tell me to stay focused. So I can't really complain with that. But I mean, it's not easy. Nothing's never easy or given to you. But like I say, when I have a great support system with my family and most importantly, my fiance always been there for me, I can't complain. So it's pretty smooth and balanced so far.
I think since TJ's gonna wax Matt in one-on-one, so maybe we should just set it up for Matt versus his son. Maybe that'd be a more fair of a fight. I don't know.
And make sure we gotta bring the hoop down, man. We gotta bring the hoop down.
Matt still couldn't dunk. He brought the hoop down. TJ, speak a little bit on how cool it is. No, Matt's got ups. He played volleyball. He gave me that look. I don't want to disrespect his ups. He played volleyball, so he's got the ups.
I do have hops. I can still throw down. If you give me a hoop that's sitting right on top of the hoop, I can still get up and tip it in. So
if you play volleyball, I believe you, man. You play volleyball. You guys can jump pretty high.
TJ, I want to ask you a follow-up just about your kids. Obviously, they come to all your games. They get to watch you. Not this year. Is it hard that you're not having your family in the stands? It was such a staple being there sophomore and junior year, seeing looking to the stands, you'd see your fiance, you'd see your kids there, and they get to watch their dad play at a high level. I feel like that's pretty cool. Is it hard this year not having them be able to be in the gym?
Nah. Because every time I play, man, I never really hear them. But I mean, it's a blessing to see them there and they get to see me play the game I love. But to be in reality, I'd never really see them there when I'm basically in game mode. Like I just see nothing, I see nobody. So like I basically feel like I'm playing by myself all the time. But I mean, they get to watch me on TV. Like they put it on TV and get to watch me play on TV. So that's pretty dope. Like now he get to say like, oh, I get to watch him play on TV. So it's like I'm not on ESPN, but. Seem like it in his eyes, he can always say that now, so can't complain.
That is pretty cool. TJ, I've got my headband here. I'm gonna throw it on. I noticed that you wear a headband in the game. Is that to control the hair? Is that to control sweat? What's the reason behind wearing that headband?
And I don't know. I've been wearing a headband for a long time. It's just, I guess you could say, keep the sweat. And sometimes when you got a bad haircut, you can't tell on pictures, man. But I've been wearing headbands because of Allen Iverson and LeBron. That's probably why I always wear a headband. I always wanted a headband. So I make sure I have headbands on deck. Like I have them stacked up in my locker. Like I never know. And now it's looks crazy. I'm only wearing one color, so I have like probably 4 or 5 headbands. Even my teammates asking for headbands. Oh, I got you, man.
That's good.
You spoke that influence that AI had on it. Why not the shooting sleeve then? AI was obviously famously known for kind of making the shooting sleeve possible. You're a bucket, you're a shooter. Why don't you rock the shooting sleeve too?
I don't like to cover up my tattoos, man. I like to show the tats.
That's fair.
What's your favorite tat? What's your favorite tat?
It's probably my chest, my lion, man. It's funny. I've been a lion since 8th grade. I've always been a lion. Like through high school, now in college, I've always been a lion. And tell me faith, dedication, and power. Those 3 words mean a lot to me. And so probably be my lion. If it is not that, it's probably the little quote on my left forearm. Basically say God would never put a dream in your heart if he never gave you everything you need to fulfill it. Because I look at that all the time. I actually read that before every game. Like that's like a little ritual right there. So it's out of those 2. I don't know which one.
Those are nice.
So switching gears a little bit here, TJ, what is your worst memory playing basketball? And then also on the flip side of that, your best memory from playing basketball? It could be any level, any time in your life.
Okay, well, my worst moment of playing basketball is probably going to PJ can vouch for this, man. Probably my sophomore year when we went to Florida, and I was really thinking about quitting and giving up on everything and just basically just saying I'll just work and try to take care of my family another way because it was pretty hard for me, man. Like I understood, like I never understood what I did wrong as a player, and I worked my butt off every day. And each moment I felt like I stepped on the court, I gave my all, but I also was a little nervous here and there because I know if I made one mistake, I was getting out and probably wouldn't get back in. So that probably was my worst moment, beginning of my sophomore season, just due to just so much stress and worrying and anger and also fighting because I couldn't actually see my kid at the time, my daughter, like going through that situation. So it was just so much on my plate. So I would have to say that's probably the worst basketball moment, just that particular. And that's probably not even dealing with basketball, but that was my worst basketball moment because it led onto the court. But my best basketball moment, I have to say it'd either be when we played Florida Southern my junior year, going for 41, even though we lost. I didn't expect to score that many points, and also on top of that with a double-double. Or I would have to say just probably like just now, just getting a recognition and people finally see that I'm able and can actually do this that I do. So it'd have to be out of Florida Southern or just playing now because I never thought I'd be playing again with this pandemic. Like you never know what could potentially happen, but I mean, hey, I'm here and I'm just trying to take the best advantage of every opportunity I get.
What was the other category in that double-double? Obviously points. What was the second one?
I had 10 rebounds. I should have had a triple-double. I think I only had like 6 or 7 assists, but they only counted 6, so I give them that. But
teammates got to knock the shots down, man. They got to knock their shots down.
Yeah.
But that night in Florida, we had that. I remember we sat up and played Madden until about 2 a.m. in that hotel room, and we had that conversation about everything that was going on and whether you decided to quit or not. And that was a good night where we stayed up and we kind of talked it out. And I remember the next day was the day that everything kind of went downhill. That was the day that Chris King was late to breakfast that morning. That was the day that you forgot your jersey, your practice jersey, I'm pretty sure, to the gym. And
yes, man. That was hell for me. That was the worst trip I've ever been with Randall. And all the trips we ever been on was fantastic. Like California, even in Mankato, and we ate good, but I hated that trip so much. I mean, I enjoyed beating you in 2K, but other than that, I hated it.
No, if I remember correctly, I was beating you in Madden a little bit every now and then too. If I remember correctly, yeah, I used to bring my Xbox on these trips.
You gave me a broken controller.
Oh, come on, PJ.
Controller. I did.
That's such a PJ.
I did the speed. Well, I only brought 2 controllers and one of them broke, and I was like, well,
I gotta win.
We
so
play or we don't play. Yeah. Last question for you here, TJ. You're set to graduate this year. Congratulations. What's next for you? Obviously you want to play, you want to continue to play, and you definitely are able to. You're at that level where you can. Whether it be the NBA, the G League, overseas, what's next, and where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself, and where do you want to be?
I mean, at this point, it's actually just talking to my coaches about this today. I would take basically the best opportunity for me and my family, and I don't even care where I go. I prefer the NBA. That's every kid's dream. But like, if I get 6 figures over here or a nice contract overseas somewhere, I would love to take it, and just to have that accomplishment and that accolade to play professional, even that title to say I'm playing professional basketball. So that's the goal right now, and I'm right. Well, I'm not really focusing on that because I see that we still got an opportunity to win a conference championship. That's what I'm really focused on. But I mean, after the season, yes, I would will enjoy the process of trying to find the right agent and the right decision and make the right moves to basically go to the right team or play for someone that is going to give me an opportunity and help me succeed in my life and have a successful career at this level. So basically just take whatever is given to me and just pray on the situation and hope for the best.
What will that look like now? Will you declare for the draft? I'm sure you'll declare so you're eligible for the draft. And then how does that work? Do you apply or do you sign up to try to get an invite to the draft combine, or how does that work?
No, my coach TA, he's really been putting a lot of emphasis in that, trying to give me even like a workout, so I guess I know I'm draft eligible. It said 2021 I'm draft eligible, so I guess my name automatically go in, and the numbers that I'm basically putting up is just, I guess that's like a resume right there, so it's helping me get my name out there even more. So whichever best, I mean, hey, just hoping for the best now as I'm steady playing.
TJ, we appreciate. Yeah, go ahead, PJ.
I was gonna say too, another good person maybe to reach out to you about that whole process is Tyler Cook. I'm sure you're in contact with him or every now and then. I know he went through that whole undrafted, or if he didn't get drafted, and then like getting workouts and contracts and that kind of stuff in the NBA team. So
yeah,
I could see you going that route too.
Yeah, hey man, everybody's route is different. I learned that when I first started Division II basketball, and like I said, playing against Marquette for my first ever collegiate basketball game was insane. And just seeing that we could stick with them and potentially could even beat them, it just showed me like basically it don't matter where you play, you just gotta perform. That's even with my boy Deshaun Munson at Harris Stowe, like All-American, and he was getting agents here and there, and he was at a NEIA, so. You never know where you gotta go. Your journey is gonna always be different. So you just gotta make the best of it and do the best you can. And if it's meant to be, I know it happened. So that's how I look at it. That's how I look at everything now.
TJ, we appreciate you coming on. I love asking that question of what's the worst moment in their careers. Not because I want to hear your downfalls, but it's so cool to see that you were basically giving up, and now you're the best player on Lindenwood ever. You had 37 against Quincy the other night, looking to play professional basketball. That's such a cool, I don't want to call it a comeback story, but from where you were, it's cool to see those stories. And we've had other people kind of tell similar stories, and I really like those. So we'll send you the mixtape once you cook Matt up so that you can have that for the teams looking to draft you or sign you or give you a workout. But we appreciate you coming on. Best of luck the rest of the season. We look forward to keeping up with you.
All right, man. Thanks for having me, and good luck to you guys.